Hello and welcome to another episode of Knowing You Being You, a series of conversations with change makers who all know that change, no matter how big or small, begins with you. And today I am delighted to be joined by Corina Angela, who is a transformational mentor and coach for spiritually gifted children and adults. And I am so pleased to have her here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
What would be lovely is for everybody to understand a little bit about what's brought you to where you are now. So I was wondering if you could just tell us a bit of your story. It doesn't have to be the whole one.
Yeah, mine's rather long. So yeah, I'll just give you a little blip. But let's see. I've been on this journey for about 41 years. So it's been quite the process. All my gifts came in very early at age 7, and I'm claircognitive. So a lot of information started coming in when I was 7. And of course, I didn't understand it. So I channeled it through writing. Unbeknownst to me, what I was doing, I just chose writing as a form to express myself. And over the years, it just really, it escalated and more came in. And I found myself trying to talk to others about it, my family members, and not being supported. And it was difficult. I went through a lot of difficulties. So, years went on, and I started evolving and ascending and ascertaining all this information. It's like, okay, what to do with it all, right? And so, flash forward many years, here I am today, and looking back, I really am here to support others and support other children that are going through this, and their parents that are going through this and not understanding. And so I help them ascertain the tools and help them understand what's happening with their children if they're just discovering or just awakening to their gifts. I help facilitate that whole process. So it's rather interesting.
And it's actually an area that's remarkably overlooked, because it's a topic that's come up again and again in these conversations, is that as a child, those gifts come forward, and it's not scary so much as but it's isolating almost, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. And I have to go through the experiences to understand it fully. And I really, looking back, I found myself time and time again being isolated, being the weird one, being the one out there, the black sheep, just very off, very different. And, it was a difficult time. I would be on the playground, I'll give you some examples. I'd be on the playground and I'd see somebody visually, before it happened, get hurt or fall or something. And I would push them out of the way to help them. And I'd be sitting in the principal's office getting in trouble for it. I'm like, but wait, they were going to get in an accident or, fall or whatever it was. And and that happened time and time again. And then, playing games, name that tune we played all the time. And I would name the tune before the music would even start. And people would just look at me like, what's happening? It's just, but time and time again, there was so much information coming in, and things that, I just thought everybody, was the same. And no. So, it was difficult at times. So, in today's world right now, I just feel that, a lot of, clients are coming in and they're just not understanding what's happening. And just to talk with them, like, oh, I remember when, and I'm just like flashing back of things that I experienced. And it's fantastic because I can help them immediately, and because I can just hone in on what's going on, and they're just so thankful. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful to be where I'm at. And it's taken me a long time, though, to just really express myself and stand on my truth and honor myself, and be very present and welcoming and being available to other people to help them. So Yeah.
And also to find that outlet that is right for you in terms of how you use your gifts
Right.
to help others.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to be comfortable with it, because for many years, I would just, receive all this information and then I would shut the door. I would just be like, oh no, that's enough. And then I would go on a little detour and then, but always, spirit and all my team would pull me back and say, no, you're going to be doing this. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay. So, time and time again, that's happened to me over, my life. And, to really pull me back and go, okay, here is my truth. And then people will come into my life and then I understand, I'm here to, help facilitate or help support them. And support was huge. That's the missing link that was missing when I was growing up. There wasn't support. It wasn't talked about. And, that's where writing came in for me. I utilized that um, way to express myself. And just really writing down everything that was happening around me because I couldn't really talk about it and there was no one to talk to about it. So yeah. So
And presume for you, I mean, that was an outlet that you managed to find, but a lot of people don't have any outlet, or they feel that they're not right, or that they're not part of things. And
right.
I mean, that's a huge, massive pressure that is often too much for many people, isn't it, to be able to
Yeah,
bear.
absolutely. And to know that it is part of the ascension. It's part of the, evolving and learning and growing and processing, but understanding all these pieces because there's so much that comes in, the clairvoyance, you see something, well, what is that? And you think everybody else sees it, but they don't, some people do, some people don't. So it's just a level of understanding and reaching out for that help and finding those people that can help you. And just really supporting them and understanding the information that they are experiencing. So, for my clients, I create the space for them to evolve and to speak about what's happening, talk about it. What is happening? What do you see? What do you hear? What are you feeling? A lot of children are incredibly empathic and incredibly sensitive. I have 3 empaths myself. I have 4 boys and 3 of them are incredibly empathic. And, it's just sitting down and talking to them and but also, learning the cues as a parent, I help the parents really understand, better connect with their children on a different level. And they need, certain tools because, you just can't, you know, take it out of the air, it's just, you need that guidance and that help and that support as a parent. So giving that to my clients, it's just amazing because it's transformational. It's a very quick shift when they do have that information, and then they can relay it to their children and they can connect with their children on a much, much deeper level and then understand them. And then the child just thrives from that and doesn't need to block it or shut down. They actually embrace it and really blossom. And that's the most beautiful part.
Well, there's a couple of things that came up for me when you were talking about that. There was one is about the trust thing, allowing children in particular and the parents to trust what is coming forward, because everybody experiences it in their own way, which
Right.
is immensely empowering.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
um,
it's huge.
yeah, and the other thing that just sort of came forward for me immediately was just the number of children now who are able to express their this more spiritual side and their gifts, and is speeding up so dramatically that actually, of course, parenting has to shift.
It absolutely does. And it is definitely shifting. And the parents are usually, they're pretty spiritually open and pretty open-minded, and some aren't, and that's okay, because they shift quickly, which is fantastic, because that's their child that's going through certain things, sleep issues, for an example. They're I had extreme sleep issues when I was younger, and I would sleep with one eye open, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was sensing things and seeing things and hearing things, and just, what is going on? And my mechanism, my comfort was put 40 stuffed animals on my bed as a blanket, as a cover, as a protector. And I've expressed that to the parents, and now they're like, oh, I can utilize that tool and bring that in. And I mean, there's a plethora of tools and a plethora of information that can be so helpful for these children. But it's just, it's the relaying the information. It's ascertaining that information. So.
It's an immensely powerful thing to do, though, for parents, is particularly, as very young children, is to be able to catch that at the younger age. But presumably you also work with older children who've experienced an awful lot of exclusion, really, because of that.
Yes, and that's where the door's shut and they just want to be isolated, and it's, allowing those doors to open, and, not going through so many hardships that, the older children are going through, and to just kind of blast through those walls, and just open it up and know that they are supported. I think that's the most important, is to have that support and know that they're supported and they can talk about it. So, yeah.
It's such an amazing thing that you do. If you think about the journeys that you said yourself, you've been on this journey for 41 years. And most of us have had really awkward journeys of self-discovery, where it's all been very slow and painful in many places. And what you're doing is just allowing, by looking at both the parents and the children, allowing them to move with so much more grace through a period of self-discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I'm very laser, so I am very, simplistic. I don't like to go on and on about things. It's like, oh, this is happening. Okay, let's try this. And then they try it. It worked. Okay, fantastic. It's, when you dissect it and really hone in on it, it is very simple. But if you don't understand the tools or don't have the tools, or, it's difficult to, put into play, So.
What tools of your own do you rely on the most?
Today, as in my practice,
yeah.
Well, for my own personal practice, I write every morning, so that's my outlet. I write at least 2 hours every morning, because I just connect to source and just all this information comes through. So that's part of my practice. And I meditate and yoga and all of that on a daily basis. So that is my outlet, and that's part of my my way of life, and it's just ingrained in me now. And if I don't do these certain things, then I'm a little off for the day. I really need to be cognizant of my surroundings, and standing in my truth, and be aware. So yeah.
So I was just standing in your truth. I mean, it's something that we all have to learn to do. We all have to learn what it is, and then we have to learn how to stand in it. I was just wondering how you work with both parents and children to help them understand what that means.
Well, it's just, standing in your truth is being truthful to what is happening, what are they experiencing, and not stuff it down, because that's our first reaction. Oh, I saw that. Oh, let's, stuff it. Let's put it in a box and not talk about it. So when it is open up, it's opening up and allowing. It's really allowing to, stand in your truth. But it's the strength. I mean, it's just the strength of stepping into your power, stepping into your truth, and to understand what's happening, and to really trust it. you start really evolving and trusting yourself more and more. And I think that's a very pivotal point um, for children and the parents, and for adults as well. I help a lot of adults deep dive into what their soul purpose is. And a lot of people don't know what their soul purpose is, and you just dive in deep, and there it is, and we bring it to the surface. But it's that trust factor that comes up, and standing in your truth, and speaking your truth. You can feel all powerful and standing in your truth, but if you're not doing or taking action, or getting it up and out, then what is that, right? So it's a beautiful, powerful thing. And when you start speaking more and more, I mean, I spent years doing this. I was all about writing, and all isolated, and this is my experience, and just me, and with my guides, and then I would start speaking a little bit about it, and everybody's like, oh wow, what, but I was very conscientious and very um selective of who I would speak to, back in the day. And now more and more, it's such a beautiful, yeah, it's a beautiful space to allow yourself to open up and connect with people. Now it's easier. It's definitely easier to connect and open up, stand in your truth, and then speak your truth. So.
And I love the way you describe that, because it is very much about finding that seed, that whatever it is, and then just allowing it to come forward and allowing it to come out. And as you say, trusting that you can do that. I think there's been so much socially to actually just push that down, and part of the purpose of this series is, as much as anything else, is about lifting that and saying it is okay to talk about some of these things, and all of these things, if you like, but it's okay to talk about them, and it's actually good for you to talk about them.
Absolutely. Well, also too, it's the ripple effect. I mean, it starts with you. You own your power, you stand in your truth, you start speaking your truth, then all of a sudden it's a ripple effect, and then what you said affects somebody else and connects with somebody else, and then and all the dots start connecting. And all of a sudden, here you are thinking that you're the only one, and you're isolated, and you're the only one that has experienced this, and then you speak about it, and 10 other people, 20 other people, 100 other people have experienced similar situations, and that's where the beauty comes out. It's like, and it's just so beautiful, and you feel so at peace with it, and there's a beautiful joy that comes up because you don't feel isolated anymore. You're like, I connected with that person, and it's just and as much as it helps you, it helps that other person, and so on and so forth. So it's I'm seeing it more and more as we continue on this journey, and we're all on our journey. We're all in this process together, and we're all ascending. We're all connected. We're all absolutely connected. And more I see and hear and feel, it's like, this is fantastic.
I love that you can see that impact, because that's one of the most difficult things. And we get in the series I've already recorded it, Mariana Ruiz was talking about 5 levels of impact, and she was saying the 5th level of impact is the intangible one. It's exactly what you're saying about the ripple effect now. And for most people, actually understanding or even being able to appreciate that the real impact of something that you do may not be, and particularly with the work you do, actually almost, it may not be what you can see. It may be 3, 4, 5 steps down the line is the real impact. And to me, the work that you do with children, in particular, and with parents, by actually just sort of laying that foundation, I mean, wow, the impact is just massive. Not in our lifetimes, possibly, that the full impact of that, but just amazing. But there's not that many people doing what you do, are there?
No, there's not. So I mean, hopefully it will evolve, and I'm sure it's going to, and it will, I know. But I think I'm just looking back, there's just I I think it's remembering for people. I always ask, my clients or people that I in conversation with, what age did you realize things were shifting? And some people can really hone in on your insertion age is very important, because you'll remember exactly where you were, what experience, just everything will just come flooding back, and you'll know immediately what shifted and what you experienced. And so it's a great question to ask. And then others are like, oh, I've been like this forever. Oh, I've, done this. But it's remembering that pivotal moment. And when you can, then you can go from there, because then it'll start flooding back, and you'll start remembering things that you've experienced in your life. And that's gaining the trust, more and more. And so, yeah, I mean, for me in my journey, I have all that experience to fall back on and remember and understand it, so I can take all that amazing experiences, and help my clients. So, yeah.
So do you work, I mean, obviously working with children is a slightly different issue, but do you work remotely, or do you always work face to face?
I started my practice, and it was, one-on-one, face-to-face. And just recently, last year, I, shifted online, and it's usually referrals. I get a lot of, oh, this so-and-so knows so-and-so. And, so it's a lot of that. So this whole online, because I'm not a social media kind of, I'm learning as I go, as we all are, or some are fantastic, but, I'm learning as I go, but usually it's, it's on Zoom or on the phone. I connect immediately.
So if anybody wants to come and find you, then they can come and find you, because they don't have to travel all the way to the States if they're not in the States.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I will make sure that your links are beneath. But you have a Facebook group as well, don't you?
I do. It's called Soul Purpose Connections, and there's some fabulous people in there. And join if you like, because it's just growing, and it's just a beautiful group. And I share every day what comes up through Source, through my writings, and it's pretty special. It's really special, and we just, we're evolving and sharing and exploring and being incredibly creative, and things are just blossoming everywhere. And it's beautiful to see the transformation. And that's why I created the group. So it's really beautiful. It's great.
Well, I would definitely recommend that you go and have a look at the group and come and see what Corina has to say, because I have to say, I love the fact that you do these wonderfully brief, to the point, but incredibly powerful videos every day. Always show up in my feed, and I just go, yeah, God, I just needed that message today, or whatever it is. It's absolutely wonderful. So I'd strongly recommend that everybody go and have a look. And obviously, if you have children, or you're a parent, and you're concerned about how best to support them, then also do go talk to Corina, because it's, as I say, it's the most powerful work. The massive legacy that it can be created just by giving children a very safe environment in which to express and share. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure, honestly. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.